Probably
many how
always
many
had it. Go
how
ahead.
many episodes are you putting out?
I just put out episode 83 this week. So I
Is
usually do two a week, like an actual true crime story, and then I'll do a bonus episode, which is sometimes like a mini crime story, or sometimes I just talk about whatever for a while.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think total like 170 something episodes are out.
Wow. And that's all with you hosting, either you and or
Mhm.
your sister?
Yeah.
Different story every week, or do you sometimes continue on?
Sometimes continue on, but
Yeah.
usually a different story every week. But sometimes, like, if I get real chatty during the episode, I'll split it into two.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes.
So what was your latest story?
Oh, they've all been Halloween stories lately.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm actually going to do one after this that will be like the last Halloween story of the month.
Hmm.
So they've all been, yeah, all stories that took place like on or around Halloween. But before that, I did a 4-part episode on the Austin yogurt shop murders, which I had never heard of.
Same.
But it was really interesting. Obviously, it took 4 episodes to get through it. So um, that has been my favorite so far. But
What
honestly,
was
I always
there
go ahead.
was there a serial killer who was like he had some vendetta against people who work in a yogurt shop?
The story would be so much better if that was the case, but no.
What's
But
the
the murders
tie-in?
did take place in a yogurt shop that was called I Can't Believe It's Yogurt.
Okay. Did he work there? Is it going to spoil the show if I ask you these questions?
It's been out for a while, so
Yeah, okay.
I can tell you.
Yeah, what's the deal?
No, it's unsolved still to this day from 1991, I want to say it took place. And basically, these 4 girls, 2 sisters, and then 2 friends were working, closing up the yogurt shop late at night. And the policeman who the detective got a call like there's a fire at the yogurt shop. And so he went over there and they thought it was just like a fire. But once they got inside, there were 4 bodies. They were all teenage girls. 3 of them were stacked on top of each other. They were all like had their clothes had been removed and it was not a good scene.
Hmm.
And they never found out who did it. Never.
Did I miss this? Was I not paying attention? Where does this relate to Halloween?
Oh no, this was before Halloween. This was
Okay,
before I started the Halloween ones.
this is before you went into the Halloween
Yes.
series. Got you.
Yes.
Tell
Yes.
me some
Yes.
cool
Yes.
Halloween. What do you got for Halloween?
The one I did last week was you've probably heard of this, the Timothy O'Brien murder. He's a 7-year-old boy in 1980 something, and his dad poisoned his pixie sticks with cyanide, and he
Whoa,
died on Halloween night.
that's fucked up.
Yeah, it was his dad like took out an insurance policy on him and his sister, and he like what they were all trick-or-treating and the dad was like, oh, I'm gonna see if this house, it looks like nobody's home, but let me check again. And he went back and then he came and caught up with them and he had like 5 of those like big ass pixie sticks in his hand, and he gave one to each of the kids and was like, oh, he just gave me these, there was somebody home. And but his son was the only one who actually ate it that night, and so the
Hmm.
cops were able to get the other ones back before the other kids ate them, but his son ate it and died. And they said the top 2 inches of the pixie stick was filled with cyanide.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
that
So
guy went
that
to
was,
prison, right?
yes, he
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he
Okay.
got the death penalty, actually.
Okay. Yeah. I think he deserved that.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Brutal.
So, yeah, they've not been in the Southwest, though, a lot of these, because
Mhm.
there's not enough murders on Halloween in the Southwest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've had to like branch out, but it's my podcast. So I feel like I can do what I want.
You can do what you want. That's the
Yeah.
fun. We're
Yeah.
podcasters now.
Yeah. That's right.
Are you making it out to LA anytime soon?
Oh my God. I would love to make it out to LA. Mark would really wants. So Mark met Brandon. I guess this
Hmm.
is not interesting for your listeners, but Brandon, who Jeff and I used to work with, Brandon came out here to Arizona for one of his kids' volleyball tournaments, and we all went out to eat, and they just like love each other so
Oh,
much.
really?
Yeah.
So for those listening as well, Mark has been on the show. I think the episode was
Right.
called like shot, stabbed, bitten by a snake, fallen down a cliff, and he's now
Yes.
here to tell about it. So
Yes.
things are good with you and Mark?
Things are good. Yeah, things are really good.
What else? What other survival stories come from Mark? Like there's got to be something new that fits my podcast title.
No, I mean there has luckily he hasn't had any like near death experiences as of lately, but he has said to me multiple times since he came on like if Jeff ever needs some ideas for scenarios like tell him to get in touch. I have so many. You know, his
I got to
mind is
talk to him.
always working like that. So yeah.
I
He
got
has
to
a
talk to
bunch.
him. I actually I haven't been doing that many scenarios lately.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
we're kind of pivoting. I think I might bring it back. Maybe for those listening, shoot me a comment or a message and tell me, should I bring it back or is it good with sometimes yes, sometimes no? There was a few things I was running into. One is sometimes people would tell me like a really incredible story,
Mhm.
like, something super tragic and heroic and amazing, and then they tell the story and we've got like tears in our eyes, and I'm like, all right, so do you want to do this hypothetical survival scenario now? It was
Nice.
like kind of a jarring transition,
Yeah, I could
um
see that.
I've also written like 80 of them, and I feel like I
Tapped
was
out?
retreading. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
retreading a lot.
Yeah.
Like, again, like for those audience who've been along for the long haul, like most of this stuff comes from like Clint's books or Cade's books. I read the books and then I kind of
Right.
make up the scenario based on like their tips and tricks of
Right.
how to rappel down a building with like a bed sheet as a harness.
Right. Always
um
good to know.
so yeah, we haven't been doing it as much, but maybe the audience listening can tell me if they want me to bring it back. But I should definitely link up with Mark and come up
Yeah.
with some new ideas as
Yeah.
well.
He has like he's like, oh, he'll be talking about something that happened. You know, he's a superintendent on a construction site, and the site that he's working on is like way out in the desert. And so he'll always just share like, oh, this guy fell into a pit and he's such an idiot. He couldn't get his and he's like, this would make a good scenario for Jeff, you know? I'm like,
Yeah, how do
okay.
you survive if you fall down a
So
pit?
yeah, he would probably have some some good ideas for you. So how is your how has this been going then? If you're not doing the scenarios, are you like in doing it regularly still? Not sorry, I haven't been following.
Yeah, yeah, we still episode every week.
Uh-huh.
New guest every week. I've had just like a lot of like healing stories and like different like healing modalities, psychedelic people and
Oh,
different
good.
therapy people. I'm actually like considering going back through some of the episodes and like writing a book, like trying some of the stuff that's been recommended on the podcast,
Oh,
and
that's a great
then
idea.
yeah, like, do you remember? I think it was Michael Pollan was the guy who put out a book a couple years ago. I think it's like
Yes.
this is your
The
mind on
mushroom.
plants. He wrote a
Right.
couple, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like he did a couple different plants, and then was like, this is what happened to me. So,
Yeah.
like, for example, I've had on some people. They do plant medicine retreats for veterans in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
This guy Luke Jensen and his sort of plant medicine facilitating partner, not like
Mm-hmm.
romantic partner,
Right,
his
right.
partner Cinzia, they've been on and they do a really cool thing where like before he got into plant medicine, he was doing neurofeedback brain training, which is like you hook this contraption up to your head basically that reads like your brain waves,
Hmm.
and then you do different practices like different basically meditation practices, and you can train yourself of how to like drop into different brainwave states.
Oh,
So I've been thinking about maybe
cool.
giving that a shot, and that could be like a big chunk of the book.
Yeah. Have you done I know you're into all this stuff. Have you ever tried because I'm super interested. Well, I'm super interested in all of it and I've done like none of it. I mean, I've done like mushrooms, you know, with like friends in college, um I we had somebody on Jim's podcast who
Mhm.
does ketamine treatments in
Mhm.
Florida. And after hearing him, I was like, I have to do this. Like, this sounds like because I've talked to my friend, one of my best friends, and we've talked a lot lately about how I feel like my brain is just not functioning at like a level that it used to. And I feel like that could be from I miss working with people. Like, I miss having meetings and like working closely with people like we did before. Um,
Mm.
so maybe that's part of it. But some days I just like I've lost some motivation and I don't know something. And so I was like, maybe I need like a reset in my brain. I'm old, so I feel like maybe it's time to like shake things up in there. I don't know.
So I've never tried ketamine. I just had I forget the name of the episode, but I just had a woman on a couple weeks ago who was talking a lot about diet and nutrition,
Hmm.
but she was a therapist and she basically told me now I'm like shit, did we say this off the episode or on the episode? It's fine. It's fine. It's all love. It's all love.
That's right.
She was basically like, I might let my therapy like it's like your LDN or your licensed like your
Hmm.
registration
Right.
thing. She's like, I might let it expire because I want to be serving ketamine.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I can still use all my therapy skills, but I want to be facilitating ketamine for people. And she spoke very highly of it. She had done it and had quite a bit of breakthroughs for herself. And I know a
Yeah.
couple other people who have had the same thing where they say it's incredible. I never tried it though. And now I'm like, shit, do I have to do ketamine now to put that in the book?
I feel
Oh,
like that would
shit.
be something that's like right up. It's like that's like adjacent to the things that you've tried, right? I mean, it's kind of
Ye-
similar.
Yeah, it's similar, but it's different because it's not a
Not
plant.
right. It's not a plant. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
it's
So
it's like I
it's
guess it would be in the synthetic category.
yes.
I'm not
Yes.
hating on that though. I'm not hating on it.
I'd love to try it, and it also terrifies me because I'm not sure that I want to like see the like deepest parts of my brain that I don't know are
So
there.
so I've never done it, but I can talk a little bit about what people have told me, which is
Hmm.
that since it's a dissociative,
Hmm.
you feel like you are sort of outside of yourself.
Hmm.
And so when you observe those challenging parts of yourself, it's a lot
You're
easier because
not
it's like
reliving it
yeah,
as yourself.
it's like being outside of it and viewing it
Right.
and not
Like a
being in it.
spectator.
Exactly, exactly.
I could maybe do that. Unless
Are
I was like
you
spectating and I was like, ugh, I hate what I see. This is terrible. But I could, that
but
seems better.
you should find someone who can sort of facilitate. I should link you up with
Yes.
you know what I should do is I should link you up with the person who was on my podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I
She'll
would love
talk to you.
that.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
me just write a note here. Let's write this down.
Yeah. I would love to do that.
Margot.
I'm definitely interested. I just feel like sometimes I feel like I just, my brain just, I don't know. It just isn't working how I want it to work. And I don't know how to fix that.
You know,
I
I
exercise
wonder.
a lot. I eat really healthy. I've stopped drinking except for, well, it's Halloween. So cheers.
Congrats.
But I
Congrats.
only drink like occasionally. I quit
Wow.
smoking my vape,
The
my like,
nicotine one?
yep. I
Oh,
quit that for
congrats,
four
Margot.
months. Um, I've been like walking 5 miles a day. I'm trying really hard to be really healthy, hoping that that'll also like stimulate some creativity in my brain, but not so much. So maybe
Well,
ketamine.
I'm proud of you though. All those things you
Thanks.
just said are fucking amazing.
Thanks.
Cutting drinking, cutting vaping,
Yeah.
walking 5 miles. You still you got what you got one dog or two dogs?
Two.
Two.
Two
Yeah.
dogs. Yep.
Yeah.
I still have well, Henry we found out has so Henry I rescued in Atlanta and he's about
Mhm.
8, 7 or
Mhm.
8 and he's just super super sweet, but we found out a couple months ago that he has I thought he had valley fever, which is very typical in the desert. It comes from spores in sorry, my cat's pushing the computer. It comes from like spores in the dirt and there's a shitload of dirt here, so um and so we thought he had valley fever because he was coughing a lot and breathing really heavy. And we took him to the vet and they did a chest x-ray and she was like, he's a huge mass on his heart. And so we took him
Oh
to a
no.
cardiologist. He has a huge heart tumor, which is cancer. And so then I took him to an oncologist and like it was a lot, but ultimately decided I'm not gonna put him through like chemo or radiation because it just seems I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. I wish I could, but it's not guaranteed to work, and he's not going to understand why.
He's not
like
gonna like. He's gonna feel awful.
he's going to feel awful and he's not going to know it's for his benefit. He's just going
Mm,
to feel awful. And
exactly.
so just trying to get, keep him exercising and feeding him supplements and things like that. Where was I going with this? How did I even come to, oh, the dogs. You asked about
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
dogs. So yeah, we walk in the morning and night every day. And Indiana is the little coyote looking dog that we found a year and a half ago, like
Is
as a little
Henry's a
puppy.
little bulldog, right?
No, my bulldog died a year
Oh
ago.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You probably
Henry's
told me that on the show before.
maybe. It's been a while. I don't even know when the last time. I do know the last time. The last time I was on here was right before we went to Belize.
That and I want to say that was like this time last year,
It
or
was. It
because
literally
I
was.
it was about this time last year that I took over hosting the show.
Yep.
For those of you listening, Clint went on to write another book, and he also has
Mm,
his own streaming platform now called the readyroom.net. And
really?
so every now and then people ask me, "Where's Clint? Where's Clint?" I'm like, "I've said this on
Huh.
the show before. Clint was writing another book, and he also launched his own streaming platform,
Wow,
and
interesting.
he left the show with
Streaming
me. So
platform.
those of
That
you still here, thank you."
Yeah. I say that all the time on my podcast. Like, if you're still listening, thank you because it's been, it's become a very personal thing because it's just me. So, like, I
Mhm.
came on your podcast. It must have been literally the end of October, beginning of November, because we went to Belize November 11th or 15th or something.
Mhm.
And it was awesome. Belize is great. Um, and then we came back and then we broke up right when
Oh no,
Mark broke up with me, right when a month after we got back. So
you
last,
and Mark.
mhm.
Mhm.
and uh and so then my podcast became like a breakup podcast where I just like got on and I just like cried and talked about my feelings and it was like really intense. and but I didn't know what else to do. Like I didn't know how to get through it.
Mm.
I'd never I mean, I've been divorced, but I was like I wanted to be divorced. I didn't want to break up. Um So the podcast was like a breakup podcast. And then it was like, oh, I'm working through it. And then it's like, oh, we're back together. So it's kind of been like a life journey podcast with a little true crime in there. So I always say to my listeners, if you're still here, I really appreciate you sticking with me through this like up and down journey. Um, yeah.
Well,
So
good for you for sticking with the podcast too.
yeah, I still keep hoping like one day I talk to Brandon and like hear how his podcast is doing and it's just doing fucking amazing. And
Yeah,
I keep hoping,
he's got a lot of listeners, huh?
oh my God. So I keep hoping that one day it'll just catch on. And even if it doesn't, the listeners that I do have, like I've gotten to know a good amount of them. Like they leave voicemails, they
Nice.
send emails. And I think like the breakup episodes were so honest and like I just didn't hold anything back. I think people felt, they felt like they know me a bit. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I,
Was your sister on there with you?
no, no, no,
Oh
no,
man, so during the
no.
breakup episodes, then it was just you.
It was just me. Yeah, it was just me. It was like me, like at like 9 o'clock at night when I was like so lonely and like didn't know what to do. And me and Mark, we were not speaking and I was just devastated. And I would just get on here and it was basically like a diary entry, but on audio, which was I was like, I don't care at this point. Like this is what it did. It helped. It really helped to like sit here. It calmed me down to just talk, even though I wasn't really talking to anybody. It felt therapeutic. And so I kept doing it. And yeah, you know,
I wonder if maybe some of your audience along the way they were going through their own thing too, and so they were like
totally.
kind of tapping in with that, you know.
Yeah. I think I do find that like the more honest I am, like the better the feedback is. I mean, there are people who are like, stop fucking talking about your own life. We are here for the true crime. Like, shut up already. But there are more people that like, I talked about Henry when we found out about the heart tumor. I did an episode when I had to put Izzy to sleep on losing like that was so hard.
Izzy,
Um,
that's right. That's the
yeah, Izzy.
bulldog. Oh.
Oh, it's still hard. Um, but and so I just was like very honest, and and with cavalry, I talked to at a certain point, not at first, I felt like I wasn't allowed to, but at a certain point I talked about it without sharing everything.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but like about I loved that job, and then not having it and not having the daily kind of connection with you guys, with everybody that we worked with.
Yep, yep.
And I definitely got messages from people like, I just lost my job, or, I just lost my pet. And so I think people do like respond to a certain level of honesty.
Yeah, and for anyone listening that is a little like unsure, the cavalry thing, Margot and
Mhm.
myself and bunch of other people, a bunch of other podcasty folks, we used to
Yeah.
work together for a company called Cavalry. And maybe you talked about it more on your show. I haven't talked about it at all on my show, but we'll to
Oh,
put it like diplomatically, we all kind of found out abruptly that we were going to be needing to look for other jobs. And
yeah.
so it was challenging. When back going back in the conversation, when you were talking about ketamine and
Mhm.
feeling like you need a reset and you're like doing all these things, like you're eating better and walking and still kind of needing the reset, I started to wonder, like, for me, between like the 2020 pandemic lockdown and
Mhm.
then like what I was alluding to for the audience, like losing our jobs abruptly, like with no warning, like
Right.
those two things back to back for me have been like
Ugh.
kind of like bizarre and left me in a weird like, and especially we were working in the film business too, which the industry is contracting so much. I know like 75% of the people I know in the business are not working.
Oh,
So
God.
it's
Yeah.
just like a weird time. So I was kind of relating to what you were saying about being like, man, I'm walking 5 miles a day. I quit drinking, but like something still feels off.
Yeah. It does. It's just that losing that job was really it was I know I'm assuming it was hard on all of us, everyone. And uh, it it really threw me for like I don't think that I realized how much I loved it until it was gone. Like I don't do well being at home. Like there's some days where like I don't talk to anybody. Like I'm just
Mhm.
home by myself doing my
Just
podcast or
just
doing stuff for
here
Jim.
recording into a microphone into my
Right.
computer,
Right.
talking into a screen with my own face on it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is
And
there anyone out there?
that's literally how it feels sometimes. And it's just, I don't, I've realized that like I get my like energy and creativity from other people. So those meetings that we had, even though sometimes I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we have to discuss like another weekend read or whatever was happening. It was good for me. Like it made me, I loved it. And so not having
Nice.
it and not having that structure and not having that ooh, what's going to happen? Maybe I'm going to read an amazing script and it's going to become like there was always that like possibility of something amazing happening or working on something amazing. And and now that's like I mean, I guess I could come up with something
Yeah.
amazing on my own, but it's not exactly the same thing.
I know what you mean. Speaking of creativity, though, I have been thinking of ways to evolve Can You Survive This podcast?
Mhm.
One thing that I've been trying to crack for a while, and I should just go ahead and like do it on my own. I kind of wanted to
Mhm.
find someone to do it, but animating a lot of the survival scenarios. So, I
That's a
have a
great
lot of
idea.
cool people on here and like a lot of military people, and then we're giving them the survival scenarios, and some of them are wilder than others. So just
That'd
do
be
like little
so
little social
good.
clips and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
animated.
I think
So
that'd be so well, like my favorite like daddy issues. I don't know if you had ever seen them, but there's this account called Cartoona on they're animators. Um they
I
take
think
clips.
Cody works with them.
Oh, really?
I think he does. Yeah.
They take like clips from podcasts. They do all kinds of animation, but they take clips from podcasts. They just animate a little clip for free.
Yeah.
Like they did it for daddy issues and I came across it and I was like, "What's this? This is brilliant." And there's something amazing that happens when you have like like real people talking, like a real conversation that then you just throw animation over it. It's really
Yeah.
cool. I think that would be
Yeah.
really good with the scenarios. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that.
So audience, let us know what you're thinking. I think it's a yes for me and Margot, but
Yeah.
shoot
I
us
think
a
that would be
comment.
good.
Shoot me a comment.
Yes.
Survive This Pod at Survive
Yes.
This Pod on
What
Instagram.
other things are you wanting to do with it?
I also want to do so when Clint last year, Clint and I were working on something. Um, it was a spin-off or like a bonus content kind of deal, part of Can You Survive?
Hmm.
Called Deconstructed, where Clint would talk about true stories that happened and like what went wrong and like what how you could have survived
Cool.
that kind of thing.
I like
So
that.
I'm trying to find ways to maybe bring something like that back, but not the exact same thing because Deconstructed was kind of like Clint's thing.
Right.
So I'm kind of like trying to investigate, what could I do, but that's in that kind of like standalone story kind of world,
Right.
you know?
Right. I like that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Huh. And do you ever have people on, like you said, you have people on who like talk about like really powerful stories and things that they've been through and gotten through. But do you have people on who have like survived, maybe not like some of this and like bigger, like, walking through the desert and getting like bit by a rat, like stuff like that, but just survived like getting mugged or getting carjacked or or like things like, or survived like a home invasion or things like that. I guess it'd be hard to find those people maybe.
Yeah, I had my buddy on who was a cop who he was off duty on an airplane and someone like a kind of disgruntled person was trying to open the emergency door while the plane was in the air
Oh
and my
God.
my buddy took his ass down.
Thank goodness. Jeez, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, so that's the one that's striking me, but yeah, I have a couple other like police officer friends who I want to kind of see if I want to kind of also consider doing like a band of regulars
Hmm.
where it's like, okay, Officer Lee is back to talk about whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Hmm.
So these are my thoughts. I also might move into a studio. I've been helping Cody. He built a studio called Acid for Squares, and I've been helping
Uh-huh.
him out with that and actually producing his
Acid for
podcast
squares.
of the
Oh,
same name.
good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
That's
I've been over
good.
there and I've been thinking about actually moving Can You Survive into the studio.
Yeah, that'd be
So
nice. Are you still in the same place with the giant hot tub?
I am, yeah. I'm in
Okay.
my home office right now, which has a
Okay.
giant hot tub on the roof. The views of downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah. Cool. That's good that you're still working with Cody. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
What else? What else is
Um,
happening in the life of Jeff?
yeah, those are the main things. Just trying to like trying to experiment with finding ways to expand Can You Survive?
Yeah.
That's the main thing that I got going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
I get
no
it.
big trips back to the jungle or anything
I
planned,
get it.
but maybe like I was saying about the book, like I might hit up my some of my former guests and say, "Okay, send me the brain training contraption. I'm going to become
Yeah.
the subject of my own experiment here."
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great idea. That'd be really and that'd be fun to try all those different things.
Yeah,
If
they
one
were
of them
also
works,
like
tell me.
they were like, "We actually really want you to try it because they know I've been to the jungle before."
Hmm.
So I'm coming in with some like
Right.
prior meditation experience, if you will.
Right. Yes. That was a very PC way of putting that. Good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're keeping it light over here on Can You
Yes.
Survive for now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I would love to come out. I'm hoping to bring Mark out to LA. He wants to go to Brandon's house and see Brandon. I'm sure it would be awesome to meet you. He really wants to go. I mean, I've told Dana forever, like, I'm coming. I don't know when, but like, I'm coming. I'm staying. I'm riding your horses. Um, Mark wants to ride the fire truck, whatever that Dana waters all of his trees with and stuff. So I still think it would be amazing to like get some of that core group back together.
I agree. For the audience listening, Dana is a mutual friend of ours who lives a kind of eccentric lifestyle
Hmm.
on a ranch, and I think he owns a vintage fire truck that he drives around the ranch using to water his plants.
Yes, yes,
If
yes.
you and Mark come out, let me know because maybe maybe we get Mark on the podcast and I'll do an in person in the
Totally.
studio.
Yeah, for
you know?
sure. We would definitely do that. Yeah, we would like to come out. We're not doing, last year we went to Belize. This year, not no big trips like that. Mark has decided that he really wants to move abroad. And
Oh,
so,
really? Sorry for
yeah.
laughing, but I was just surprised. He seemed like he's quite well settled where he is.
He is. He's never lived anywhere else except for Tucson.
Yeah.
But he's like, I think he's feeling like mid 40s. And he's like,
Okay.
I want to like live. I don't want to wake up and go to work a job that I don't, you know, I'm sure nobody from his
Yeah.
work is listening, but like he doesn't love it. It's super stressful. And he's like, I
Yeah.
just want to, his dream has always been to have a food truck. And he was like,
Mm.
which we could do. I would love to do that. But one of his buddy's sister moved to Belgium and bought like a house for very affordable and like lives in this little village and has a great community and I just loves it and said it wasn't that hard to kind of, moving to some countries, I think with visas and stuff, it's probably pretty difficult from what I understand. But um, so yeah, he's like, I think we should move and we should get chickens and like plant a garden and we'll just bake bread. And I was like, okay, I mean, I can podcast from anywhere. So I
Exactly. See,
guess.
this is all like post 2020, post cavalry energy.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
like, like we live cheap in
Yes.
Belgium and we'll have a waffle
Totally.
truck and a
Yeah.
Puerto Rican podcast.
A
I'll have some
waffle truck, that'd be
chicken,
great.
some animals.
Yeah, because it's not affordable. Like that's my dream is to live like Dana, maybe not on 800 billion acres, but like it's not really afford for me. And I think for a lot of people, it's not affordable. I don't own a home and I would love to own a small home with land where I could have chickens and like a goat or something and plant a garden. But I feel like I'm going to be like 75 by the time I can afford something like that, if ever.
Mark can
So,
shoot his guns there.
yeah, exactly.
I
Exactly.
feel you. That's what we all want, right?
Yeah, really
Yeah.
is. Really is.
Well, are you in a state that you can do ketamine in?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think so. I'd
I think
imagine.
so.
I think
I'm
so.
pretty sure in California I could do it.
I mean, I
I'm
know in
sure
Florida you can do it, so I feel like if Florida can do it, then Arizona probably
I'll
can.
link you up with my person
Yeah, please.
who was
Yeah.
on podcast last week or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
And then I'll start writing my brain book and then you
Yeah,
you can let me know about the ketamine and we'll kind of swap notes on that.
totally. I love it.
Amazing.
Sounds like
Should
a
we
plan.
should we do a survival scenario today?
This is your podcast, man. I leave it up to you.
Thank you. This is my world now. What do I got here for you? What do I got? Ah, jeez. Jammed my finger over the weekend.
Oh.
And sorry, this is Can You Survive This podcast? And I'm over here like, I'm scrolling on my computer and I hurt my finger. All right,
That's okay.
I'm gonna throw some wild shit out there. It's a
Okay.
Halloween. Just so everyone knows, we're actually recording this on Halloween. I think it's
My
gonna come out
favorite
a couple of
holiday.
days. It's gonna come out a couple of days after Halloween.
Love Halloween. Do you have any Halloween plans, by the way?
I do not.
Okay.
Um,
Do you have any Halloween decorations up in your house?
I do not.
Okay.
I was at a friend's place over the weekend, like playing music all weekend, which is not very Halloweeny. And
No.
then I came back and like some of my friends are doing like the Halloween party, Halloween rave thing.
Mm,
But I don't feel like it.
okay.
I hurt my finger. I jammed my finger. It's all swollen. Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah, you
chilling.
can't. It's hard to like do Halloween with a jammed finger, so that's
Yeah.
fair.
How am I gonna get my costume on?
Right. That's right.
What about you? Are you going out?
No, I'm hoping to get trick-or-treaters. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I've been celebrating it all month long. I have
Fuck
like
yeah.
decorations up. We've been to pumpkin patches, haunted houses, haunted corn mazes. Um, and so I'm gonna dress up. Mark's not gonna dress up, but I'm gonna dress up and we're gonna hope that there's some Halloween trick-or-treaters. And if not, watch horror movies.
Did you say you are gonna dress up and Mark is
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, Mark's not gonna dress. I mean, Mark's like Mark
Oh.
has one costume and it's from He wears the same costume. It's from the Tombstone. Is it Kurt Russell's in Tombstone? Yeah, Kurt
Oh
Russell's
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Tombstone. Yeah,
So he's
it's from
like a cowboy looking thing.
yeah. I mean, Mark looks like a cowboy kind of anyways. So
Yeah.
he all he does is throw on like a special belt and a special shirt, and he calls himself Curly something. I can't remember, but he's not gonna dress up. But yeah, I have like a ton of different costumes, so I'm gonna pick one because Halloween's always been my favorite holiday. So
What are you thinking? What are you leaning towards? What are you gonna
well, I
dress up?
have, I mean, it's got to be child friendly. So, I mean, I know that like
Mhm.
most costumes for adult women are like as scantily clad as possible. I feel like that's not appropriate for passing out candy. So, I have like a
Right.
very appropriate Snow White and
Okay.
a very appropriate Little Red Riding Hood.
Okay.
Um, I have like a French maid. I feel like that's probably not gonna,
Starting to push it.
yeah, exactly. Yep, that's right. So, we're gonna go Disney character probably
Okay.
and keep it clean for the kids.
All right, cool. And
Yeah.
do you have some good candies? What are you passing out over
I have
there?
to go get candy still. I'm gonna be like the last person buying candy on Halloween.
I like Tootsie Pops.
Oh,
Um
okay. That's a really not at all what I would expect. What else?
I'm not a candy person, but I'm just throwing this out there for the sake of Halloween. So if
Okay.
it's Halloween, I'll go Tootsie Pop, but you get like a bazillion extra points if you throw a tissue over it and a little orange piece of string and put a little face on it with a pen, so it's like a little ghost. Yeah, so there's that. And
Such a good
then
idea.
so you're welcome. You can have that. And
That's a great idea.
then like, I like Reese's peanut butter
Me too.
situations,
Reese's
if there's some kind of shape like a ghost one, sometimes they do them. Like I like the
pumpkin
tree
ones. Yeah.
around Christmas time. I like the trees, so there's got to be
Yes.
like a pumpkin Reese's. That'd be pretty
What about
cool.
candy corn? Are you a candy corn person? Because I feel like there's either candy corn people or not candy corn people.
I feel so weird saying this, but I'm oddly not against it.
Oh my God, I love it. That's not weird at all. I love it.
I just
Love
feel like
candy
it's
corn and the pumpkins, the candy corn pumpkins. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
ugh,
It's just such a weird candy. What's it even supposed to taste like?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Tastes
It's like a
delicious
sugary
though.
crayon.
Yeah. It is
Not that I've ever tasted a crayon. I assure you I have
it is
not.
like a sugary crayon. That's so true. I love
Yeah.
it though. Candy corn and malt and like Whoppers, malted milk balls. I
Oh
love.
yeah, yeah.
Yum.
Those. Yep, yep. Are Whoppers and Milk Duds the same thing?
No, milk duds are like the like so chewy caramel covered in chocolate that gets
Whoppers are
stuck in your teeth.
crispy. Are Whoppers
Yeah.
crispy? Yeah, yeah.
Crispy.
I like
Yep.
Milk Duds too, though.
Me too. I like all candy. I'm really
Th-
not I'm a candy, I'm agnostic. I'll eat it all.
This is like a once or twice a year thing for me. I'm not a big candy-ish guy.
I mean, I'd eat candy every day if I had the metabolism of a 12-year-old boy, but I
Mm.
don't. So,
Or if someone got me like some really fire, like fancy truffles,
mm,
chocolates with the nice
mm,
little
yum,
ganache situations in there.
yum.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
cool with that. But
I'm good with that. You could throw any candy my way and I'd be like, yeah, I'm eating
yeah.
it.
Well, I hope everyone's having a fantastic Halloween and
Yes.
taking lots and lots of candy.
But don't eat candy that's been opened. Remember my true crime story that
Yeah,
with the
watch out
cyanide.
for the pixie sticks, man. Whoa,
Exactly.
fuck. All right, let's see what we got here, survival scenario wise. So, what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you an old one,
Okay.
and I'm just going to like reinterpret it as I read it because I got it
Okay.
written down here and I got it queued up for someone else like years ago.
Hmm.
For those listening, check out the Pat McNamara episode. I forget what it was
Mm.
called, but it's hosted by Clint. Um, anyways,
Yeah.
let's dive right in. So for this hypothetical survival scenario,
Hmm.
let's just say it's Halloween and
Okay.
it's become nighttime though. All the trick or treating has died down. Things are kind of coming to an end. Mark he had to run out. He had to get some stuff for you guys.
Okay.
And it's getting
Uh-oh.
late. You're like, oh, where the fuck is he? What's going on? Suddenly he comes rocking up in a panic. He pulls back up to the house in a panic. All right. And he says that someone attacked him while he was out. And
Uh-oh.
now he needs your help. because he pops the trunk of his car and reveals the dead body of his attacker.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
So, first question,
Huh.
do you A, get the body out of the trunk and strip it down of all clothes and personal items, or B, move the vehicle around to the back of your location?
B. Definitely.
Definitely B. That's correct. You want to go, you're going for discretion here before you
Yes.
start moving this
Yes.
guy's body, who was definitely killed in self defense.
Sure. Sure. Even if not, like, it's okay.
Even if not, it's
Yeah.
Halloween. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
so okay. So now you're in a more discreet position.
Mm.
Do you A, pull the body out and strip it down of all the clothes, or B, tarp the ground?
Tarp the ground.
Oh yeah, you're on a roll. You're on a roll. You're
Yeah.
keeping things clean over here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mm.
you don't want too much cleanup.
Right.
All right, so you got him out of the trunk and you got it tarped and you strip him down after you tarp, you
Sure.
know. So next, do you A, grab a couple of 50-gallon steel drums, or B, start digging holes in the dirt?
Ooh. I mean, for me, because I've planned out how to get rid of a dead body many times in my head,
Hmm.
it will be the steel drums for me.
A is correct. A is
Okay.
correct. Steel drums is correct, but now I'm curious. So, since you are a true crime podcaster and you've planned out how to get rid of a body,
Hmm.
what's your kind of main method of disposal in your personal scenario? Is it fire? Is it? I know a common one is feed it to pigs. Oh,
Whoa.
you
No,
haven't
I
heard
could
that yet?
never. No, I mean, well, I've heard the story of the pig farmer, but I've never considered doing that. I still think like the Breaking Bad method, the acid
The
is the
acid.
way to
Yep.
go. I
Yep.
also did well, I heard to kill somebody and then you don't clean up the body, but there's no way to trace it back to you. I heard, I can't remember where, but it was like you make like an ice pick out of ice. You like form it, you put it in the freezer out of ice, and wearing gloves, you stab the person with that ice, and then the ice melts, and there's no murder weapon, and you're just like, you can just walk away,
Whoa.
which is kind
That's
of a good
crazy.
idea. But I think acid is the way I would go because I just want to get rid of all of it. But acid, and then there's so many options after that. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't want to say something that's going to come up in the story, so
The
I'll wait.
the ice pick thing is crazy though.
Isn't that
Someone
kind
could
of a
write
cool idea?
someone could write a movie, and they're like, how do we find this fucking guy? And
The
then,
ice pick killer.
you're in the end of it's like the last like 25 minutes of the film, and the cops like open the freezer and it's full of like
Yes.
frozen stabbing things. They're like, fuck, fuck.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's such a good idea. That's a clever idea though. I don't know. I keep it in the back of my head in case one day
That
I
is
need it.
wild. That
Mhm.
is wild. Yeah, you keep it in the back of your head, aka you keep a frozen ice pick in your freezer
Free
at
just
all
in
times,
case. I
just
live
in case.
alone. You never know.
I
You
actually,
never know.
now that you mention it, I don't think the glove is needed even. Why
Probably
use the
not because
glove?
the ice would melt.
The ice melts, the glove is just something else to be left behind.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think I was always thinking of it like, well, it's just an extra precaution. But once the ice is melted to water and
As long
disintegrate,
as your hand doesn't slip, you try to stab them and your hand slips down, you get no force on the stabbing weapon.
oh,
Then they get pissed. They take the stabbing weapon from you, and the whole
then you're
thing
dead.
backfires.
Yeah,
Then the weapon
that's
can't be
true.
traced back to who killed you.
So maybe you need like a glove with like little
A,
what's on the bottom of snowshoes,
just a
like
little
little
grippy,
teeny ones just to get a little grip.
a little grip.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So you got your 50-gallon steel drums here. I'm sure Mark
Hmm.
keeps those handy.
Totally.
Uh, and you cram them into one barrel. You're
Mm,
going body in one barrel, personal belongings plus the tarp in the other barrel.
okay.
Do you A, pour some gasoline in those barrels and light it up, or B, we're going to need something hotter.
Oh, we're gonna need something hotter for sure. Gasoline can't burn bones in a body.
Gasoline's not going to do it. B is correct.
Uh-uh.
We're going to need something hotter.
Hmm.
So you and Mark are in the car and you are off to a private airstrip nearby.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So do you A, drive up to the strip, find a small plane, and commandeer some jet fuel? Or B, put some distance, kind of approach on foot, park your car far away?
For sure. There's cameras. Even at a private airstrip, there's cameras for sure, like even more so. So I am parking far away, wearing dark clothing, and I have to have some excuse in case I run into somebody, like why I'm just walking up to this private place. Like my dog ran away. I'm looking for my dog or something like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. See, I didn't even have that in the notes, but I'm looking for my dog.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
fantastic.
because what if you do run into somebody? It's not like, oh, I don't know why I'm out here at night on Halloween, you
Oh,
know?
just wearing all black at the
Yeah,
private airfield, looking
exactly.
for my dog. Run, Mark, run.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So let's see here. You got that one right. You're on a roll and you park your vehicle at some distance away from the airstrip. You approach on foot with discretion. You're ready with your looking for my dog excuse.
Yes.
Do you A, find a small plane and try to pry open the fuel door so that Mark can siphon some of the fuel?
Mm.
Or B, look around for another source of jet fuel?
Ooh. Hmm. I think I'd want to be in and out. So I don't want to be looking around for a bunch of fuel. So even though it seems risky to siphon it off right there, I think like I'd just try and do it really fast because if I'm snooping around, then I might get caught, you
Well,
know?
this question was because one thing to bear in mind is most air strips are also going to have a fuel truck.
Oh,
A
shit.
truck that drives up and carries the fuel. So it may be easier for you to get fuel off the fuel truck
Mark
directly.
would have known that. I
And
wouldn't know
Mark
that.
Mark would have known. We
True.
should have had you
Okay.
both on together.
Okay. Okay.
It's all right. You're allowed to get one wrong.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So, um, blah 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 blah. So you get the fuel from the fuel truck,
Hmm.
and you're now headed back. You return to your location, to your compound, we'll call it, at about 3:30 a.m.
Okay.
Once you get back, do you A, start the fire in the steel drums, or B, uh, head to a more remote location with your steel drums and jet fuel?
More remote location for sure. I don't want this tied to my compound.
Absolutely. You don't want a big jet fuel fire
No.
putting up smoke.
Yes.
Uh, Perfect. So you go and you find a more discreet location,
Hmm.
and now you're in the home stretch. Do you A, wait until around 5 or 5:30 a.m., or B, light it up right away?
Oh, I guess I would wait because it would be less noticeable from a distance in the dark. Well, the like light from the fire would be less noticeable in the daytime, but the smoke would be less noticeable. I think I'd wait till morning.
That's correct. So
Okay.
we have wait until about 5:30.
Yeah.
This is going to put off a significant amount of smoke, which
Okay.
is more easily spotted during the day, and
Hmm.
flame, which is more easily spotted at night. So
Right.
5:30 may give you a little bit of a sweet spot.
Oh, because it's like dusk or
Yeah.
dawn,
You're
whatever.
trying your best to minimize the visibility of the smoke and flame, which is
Got it.
difficult, but so that's why you got it right though. The thought there is, minimize that visibility.
Right. Okay.
So you wait till 5:30 and then you spark those fuckers up.
Yeah.
Next, do you A, wait a few more hours with them while the contents burn, or B, get out of there?
I mean, I don't think it's really smart to like stick around and sit next to this burning body. So I'd probably leave. Yeah, I'd leave. I mean, I'd come back. Ooh, okay. I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to say I'd leave. I'd leave.
Okay. See, that's interesting. Your thought process is interesting because I see the true crimer in you is like, oh wait, you definitely don't want to go back to the scene of
Right.
crime, right?
Right.
So this is kind of whoa, excuse me. This is kind
Yeah.
of a tough one because it will take a couple hours to according to Clint's book,
Right.
for the jet fuel to get to about 1400 degrees Fahrenheit, which
Hmm.
is the temperature it will take for, like, for example, femurs and molars
Right.
to begin to turn to dust. So, but then again, I don't know what staking around is going to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, what if somebody comes to check out the fire and I'm just sitting there? I mean, I'd hope that it's burnt enough that that they're not like, what are you burning? Oh, it smells like a body, and then I would be okay. But if they come right in the beginning, there's really no way to hide that. And then if you
Mhm.
leave and then you go back to make sure it like all burnt down, it's like, well, somebody else could have found it by then. You'd have to like really creep up and make sure that
Yeah.
there's nobody around. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's risky. But
You know
I'd
what?
leave.
I think I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the points on that one. I think what I would do is leave, but keep an eye on it. Like leave, but not all the way.
From keep an eye from a distance. Like be
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the best. That's
Yeah.
the
And
best
then if someone
idea.
comes
You're
by,
right.
you go, oh God, I was looking for my dog, but I think I see a
Yeah,
fire.
that's it. That's exactly right. That's it.
I
That's right.
can't find my dog.
Can't find my dog, but I came upon this like burning barrels. I don't even know what it's about. I guess
It smells
that's
like my
right.
dog's in there.
Oh my God. Okay.
Let us see here. Do I have any more questions for you? It's been a couple hours. The flames die down. You head back to the compound. Do you A, tell Mark to give you a little space and we're never going to talk about this again? Or B, make sure to double check that no evidence or materials were left behind anywhere in the car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, definitely check to make sure no evidence, nothing's left behind. And I feel like it's just unspoken. Like we're never going to talk about this again. I don't even need to say it. We just know. I feel like there's like three people in my life that like if we had to bury a body, we would do it and we'd never speak about it again. And we don't even have to talk about it. We just know it never happened.
For sure. Let me see. I thought I had a quote written in here somewhere that was good, but I can't find it. Oh wait, no. This is from Clint's book. We're
Okay.
gonna finish the scenario with this.
Okay.
A good friend will help you move, but a true friend will help you move a body.
That's right. I fully agree with that quote. I
Yeah.
feel like everybody needs at least one person that they know they could call if they had to bury a body, right?
Yeah.
I have I have two. I have two people that I could call. And weirdly, I would think it would be my sister, but we've discussed this and she was like, "Do not call me. Do not
Leave me
call
out
me.
of
I
it.
will hang up on you."
See,
So,
now a lot of people consider the kind thing to do, never tell me about that.
right.
Because if I get questioned,
Right.
I don't want to have to know about it, and I want to
Right.
say I don't know anything about it, and that's the truth.
Right.
So, but
Right.
it's you got your people that'll help
But
you.
you need help. Like I can't lift a dead body by myself. Maybe a
It's
dead
hard.
dog, but like not a full grown person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, two people. I think Mark would do it. I think my friend Jackie would. I know she would too. She wouldn't like it, but she'd do it.
She's down. She'd be
Yeah.
pissed off the whole time, but she's
Yeah.
down.
She'd be like pissed. Although she has a kid now. We haven't talked about this in a couple of years, and now she has a child. So I don't know. That might change things.
That changes the math.
That's right. That might change it. It might be just Mark, but that's okay. Now I know how to get rid of it. So, like, I figured I just need like a lever if I do it by myself.
Yeah, yeah. You got to keep her.
That's
She's a
right.
good one.
That's right.
So, where can people find what Death by Southwest is the podcast?
Death by Southwest is the podcast. It is on everywhere you get a podcast, Apple, Spotify, all that. And socials are all death and then the letter X and then Southwest spelled out.
Death
I've
by
been really
Southwest.
lacking on the socials lately, but you know, this my Death by Southwest Instagram has become my personal Instagram basically. I just like because it's kind of one and the same. Like the podcast is personal. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you're looking for like real hardcore true crime, this isn't for you. Death by Southwest isn't for you.
Okay. It's a
It's
little, it's true crime with like
yeah,
your
it's true
personal.
crime with like a little bit of like life chaos thrown in there. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, thanks for
indeed.
coming on. We'll have to do this again in a year.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Or me and Mark will come on together at some point. I'm gonna tell him to just start like jotting down scenarios that he comes up with and we'll just send them to you.
I got to bring back the hypothetical survival scenario. Hopefully, people that are listening will message me and tell me if they miss
If it
it or,
yeah,
whatever, you know.
yeah,
So,
definitely. Well,
well,
thank you for
thanks.
having me.
Yeah. Talk to you later.